Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Subos page 29, which is the introduction of the third chapter, which is a very sensitive topic because it discusses the laws of a man who is ma'anis or mafata. Literally, he either raped or seduced a woman. And here the Torah tells us that there is a kanas. There is a financial penalty that we place upon the man for committing this terrible crime. And he has to give a substantial amount of money to her father because we're discussing a situation where she was young and under the jurisdiction and house of her father. So he ends up having to give 50 shekel. In addition to this amount of money, the Torah interestingly says, Violates isha, that he is supposed to marry her. Now, even in a situation where he may have defiled a woman who in herself is not allowed to enter into the Jewish nation, and therefore he wouldn't be technically allowed to marry her, there's still a financial obligation that he still has to pay. And some people wonder, why would it be this rule that Violates isha, that he should marry her? Because after she was obviously physically harmed, which is one of the worst crimes imaginable, why would we think that it's befitting that they should get married? Now, it's also interesting to note that the Torah says that she will be his wife forever, which means that he does not have the right or ability to release her or to divorce her. What exactly is going on? And I'd like to tell you that perhaps the answer is as follows to this very sensitive discussion. First of all, it's important to note that even though he's obligated to marry her, she could refuse it, her father can refuse the marriage, which perhaps would be the typical situation. But even in the event that they do decide to get married, the girl decides to marry him, or the father also agrees that it's an acceptable marriage, even though this was obviously not a good way to start a relationship by any stretch. But nonetheless, he's not allowed to ever release her. And perhaps the notion is that a person, among the horrific crimes and motivations of a person who is ma'anis, a woman, has to do with not just his sexual desires, but also an element of wanting to be in control. This man is obviously a person who is seeking total control over another human being by doing such a terrible thing. And because of this, the Torah says, I want to now show you what it's like to be totally out of control when it comes to relationship. First of all, you must marry her, but she does not have to marry you. It's totally up to her. It's up to her father. You have no say. You have no control. And furthermore, if in fact they do marry you, then you have no control in this relationship whatsoever. And perhaps, maybe, this person can rehabilitate themselves and recognize the harm and hurt that they caused another person because of their nature of wanting to control another, that maybe now they'll realize that they should never do that to his wife or to any woman or to anyone for that matter ever again.